However, I have one other concern, and this might be a bit of a something that you may have not come across. And I wrote, this is a book of fiction I wrote called Who Painted My Money White? I don't know if either of you have had a chance to read it. It's also available in ebook. This is a book of fiction. What happened is that in 2011, two containers containing counterfeit cash, 500 rupee and 1000 rupee notes, arrived in Kochi. The total value of these two containers was 10,000 crores. The 10,000 crores is just a small sample. Probably 100 such containers came. Only that one, some sincere, honest reporter stumbled on it and wrote about it. And then it was, of course, hushed up. What has happened is, and Dr. Anush Solomon Joy can back me up because I got this from a retired Director General of Police of Kerala, that this money got distributed amongst one specific minority, and 100 chartered accounts initially, I don't know if that network grew, they were tasked so much money, you have to figure out how to create a fake corporation, channel money through that, and then make sure that this set of people get benefited. Suddenly people who were, day laborers, they were driving SUVs. And this situation has come to such a pass now that they were first targeting Hindu girls. Now they are also targeting Christian girls. I'm talking about Love Jihad. This has become to the extent that one church has written to the National Council for Women that close to 5,000 Christian girls have been trapped also in this Love Jihad. And you see, the problem here is, I don't have a problem with interfaith marriage. The thing is, it is being used for a more sinister plan. They were being sent and sold off as slaves to work as sex slaves when this ISIS conflict was going on. And I believe now they are going to Afghanistan. So this is just horrifying to know that this kind of thing is happening. My question to you is, at some point, I mean, maybe I'm directing this question more to Dr. Anush more than you. At some point, the Christian population in Kerala has to realize that they are getting kind of isolated. They need to choose one side or the other. What do you see? How do you see a way out of this? I mean, education is happening now. Hindu girls are being told, be careful, don't do this. But the problem is, when they are at that impressionable age, 16 to 18, 16 to 19, they finish high school, they're going to college. Then one of the things that this DGP told me was that you imagine this scene in the college campus. The Hindu boy who wants to get to know this girl, he's coming on a broken cycle, he's cycling up. The Christian boy is not any better. He's also having only a broken motorcycle, or maybe he's also driving a bicycle. The Muslim boy that comes there, he has the top of the line two-wheeler, or he's even driving a car, wearing the best clothes. All this money was financed through this counterfeit currency. And this girl has, they are now looking at stars, and then they start being told that's a great religion and so on and so forth. See, you can't go back and claw this money out. Most of the money now has found its way into real estate. I am told, and I don't know if he told me, and I'm just regurgitating this. Most of the riverfront property, oceanfront property, and property along the one arterial national highway that runs the length of Kerala has been bought by this community.
Exactly.
And so how do you reverse this thing? I mean, I am thinking, if I were Modi, I would just run away, man. This country is becoming so difficult to run. What are your thoughts? I mean, and this is an open question because I have raised the problem in my book. What I have not raised, I have not been able to give a solution to this except trying to say that you have to make usage of money less and less. You just take money out of the circulation and force people to start using online banking and any other way where the money can be traced. But that is a long-term process, But what are your thoughts? I'm open to listen to your thought because you are looking at this probably in a different way.
Yeah, digital economy and digital governance will definitely bring a proper solution to some extent. But I wanted to make a slight correction with what you were talking regarding Muslim youth, Sree, because you have mentioned that they come in good cars and good bikes to allure Christian and Hindu girls. See, there is a psychology behind this. I have noticed many of these girls who are Christians and Hindus who eloped with Muslim guys. Most of them are not actually rich. You know, they don't even have a proper house. And at times I felt sorry for them. Even if they had gone with a Muslim young man, at least they should have made sure that he has some kind of capacity and social orientation to run a family. But these girls, they have left everything and they just followed this guy, those guys who have no social, financial security or orientation. And why is it so? What is this, and why is it happening in this way? Then I was, learning something about human psychology, especially human psychology. Psychology. Pardon me, Mary, if I hurt you in any sense. A man is visually oriented, and women is verbally oriented. This is the psychology. A man gets attracted with something he watches, something which is visual, and women get attracted to something which is verbal. I have noticed something, from my childhood, that in my own circle there are very beautiful girls who eloped with the pitch black guys who worth nothing other than one thing. They are good at saying I love you, and you are my dear, and you are my pearl and diamond and everything. Women has that psychological vulnerability. They are verbally oriented, and these guys, these Love Jihad guys, they are specifically trained to give a conversation, both in terms of the verbal and written. It is in such a way that it is like a prefabricated weapon, for mind manipulation. That once I came across a letter which was given by a Muslim guy to a Christian girl, and any girl in this world would love to fall for that guy, because and this girl thinks that this letter is written by him. No, it is not written by him, and it is the same letter which has been circulated in that Muslim circle. The same letter addressed to different girls has been handed over to multiple girls, and the letter sounds so good. What a literature that is! No, it is saying that you are my heaven and things like that, and without you there is no life further, and we are the only the perfect match each other in this world, and we are beyond everything. And it's the same letter getting circulated everywhere. So what I'm saying is this: there is a psychological element behind this love jihad, and the church is like is very much a part of a geopolitical agenda, especially the Christian schools. And there, the education has brought this kind of a situation where people are now vulnerable to this kind of literature. They're not only educated. I believe education is beyond becoming more than being academic. People are becoming very academically success, but in terms of their ethos, in terms of their inner maturity, they are nowhere. They are a disaster. So they don't have discernment. There's something called discernment. The discernment is missing. And our girls, our present regio-political deterioration, it has affected every person, both boys and girls. Right now, it is all about money. As you said, there is cash of freehold. You don't need to earn it. It is freely given to you, provided you can fall into a religio-political agenda. Any number of cash, they are freely given. And I have noticed throughout Kerala, it is popping out the men's store, men's fashion store that showcases valuable, branded stuff which is actually not for sale. They are not particular whether someone visits their store and buy it. They don't do any marketing. It's open throughout. All fancy bells, all Gucci items. All the so-called. I don't want to spell out brands and become a brand ambassador here, but all kinds of international brands are displayed. Original items are displayed, and the shops are just kept just like that. Many are not open, only glass barricades, and it's not meant to be meant for any kind of commerce. But it's established throughout Kerala, and I've noticed boutiques that sells the fancy dress for girls run by guys. You feel like going inside that shop, and there is no need for you buying. But the moment you get inside that shop, let it be your own sister or your neighbor, that girl will come out as a different person. There are people highly trained and equipped, and to talk with these girls. And many people don't realize those shops, those boutiques were parlors for Love Jihad. They were prefabricated, well designed, like traps, very, like this, the cobweb is made by the spider, where they await for, the prey. These kind of boutiques are run by these guys where they are awaiting girls, and any girl would fall for it. Such kind of beautiful dresses are displayed with cheap prices. These branded dresses are available for cheap prices. 50%, 30%, 70% offer. You would prefer to go inside and to shop inside the shops. And by the time you go there 2, 3, 4 times, they will collect your for mobile phone. And one of the things which I have noticed that nowadays, every shopkeeper wanted your personal contact number in the name of billing. And the moment they give you hand over your contact number, then you get a WhatsApp message regularly. And these guys, they establish a private communication corridor with this girl, and then they will canvas their psychological element. They are verbally oriented. They will start sending messages, and you can see down the line within a span of 1 year, either they'll be eloping with that girl. You check, it is either beauty parlor, or it is nowadays there are quiz competitions. It is based on Quran, and it is the price is 50,000 rupees for first prize, and then there are many consolation prizes, and it's the questions are very simple, very simple. Anyone can answer, targeting all non-Muslim and especially Hindu and Christian families, and those poor families, they go for it because they get for answering simple questions you get consolation prizes or first prizes or whatever it is, which is just like a freehold money, just like that. And surprisingly, recently there was a quiz competition conducted by an Islamic organization, and the first seven winners for the all the best prizes went to Hindus. And they hand over that money, and they're conducting these quiz competitions now and then, and it's become very popular. It is becoming a very popular, harmless method, a well accepted method among non-Muslims to be part of such kind of things, and they don't ask any questions other than the questions that are related to Quran. How Muslim is peaceful one. What do you think? Where Muhammad is born? Which year he is born? Where is Makkah? And who was the caliphate of this particular season? That's all. And it's very easy. They actually give them the answers beforehand also, and it became like a fake exercise, and if a setting where people outside, they don't realize what exactly is happening. Even the authorities are acting blind, and they are simplifying. They are they feel that these are all innocent human interactions. And but let me tell you, this has very big consequence awaiting us. Our entire cultural diversity, our liberty, our freedom of expression, our avenues to evolve and exist on this planet in an evolved manner. Everything is going to be closed very soon, provided we don't educate our mankind with regard to what is happening. And it is very sad that the very Christians and the very so-called followers of Islam, They are doing it, out of their utter blindness. And there are many seekers of truth within them, and I appreciate them and I encourage them to follow the truth. But most of them are blinded by their own religion. They just blindly believe, and their mind is fabricated by this. The so-called geopolitical agenda. Let it be Islamic agenda, let it be the agenda of missionaries and the Britishers and the so-called Christian corporates. They all have only one agenda, the corporate agenda, and spoiling this mankind and this beautiful existence for the sake of their elementary pleasures. And it is for our duty, it has become our duty, and this is the right time where we need to collectively educate people regarding the perils that are awaiting mankind.
Thank you, Dr. Joy. Mary ji, if you would like to add to this, I have seen some instances of this also happening in Andhra. I don't know whether you are close to just Andhra or Telangana also has this problem. Tamil Nadu has the problem. Kerala, Karnataka also has this problem. So more or less, the entire South India has this beginning to claw its tentacles. What are your experiences? I mean, it's okay if you have not come across. I'm just curious.
No, no, I have not really interacted that much with the Muslim communities. When I was growing up, I grew up in Hyderabad. Okay, so obviously I had quite a bit of exposure to Muslims, but really those lines were drawn very clearly when I was growing up. I rarely saw the crossover. I actually saw more crossover between Hindus and Christians, but not so much with Muslims. And whenever I hear these things, it's mind-boggling to me that they have become such an integral part of the society today, where the Hindu girls are attracted to Muslim boys. Because when I was growing up, I mean, I don't mean to say it in any derogatory manner, but Muslims were seen as people that were not very educated, they were not elite, they were not sophisticated. um, and no girl would even look at him, look at such a person. They lived in huge families, poverty stricken. So that was the kind of image that I had. I don't know how in the last 20-30 years they turned from the poor to the real elite, where the girls are now seeing them as the potential grooms. I mean, to me, that is a very surprising thing. I can't
Yeah.
I can't wrap my mind around it.
Like I said, if it's a genuine marriage, there's no problem with that. It is just that when this gets abused and misused, that's when the problems become stark. And this book of mine has actually opened up a lot of eyes. And now people are beginning to correlate this is because of this, this is because of this. The impact economically has been calculated. It is somewhere around 4 lakh crores that fake currency came into India. And the fake currency was easy to do because a certain finance minister of India changed the policy of the government to buy paper from the same company that sold the paper to Pakistan. That was one variable, you see. The paper was different before. This genius decided to buy from the same company, and that one variable went away. The next variable was the security threats that would go into the news, the notes. That people got honey trapped and got compromised, and that also became easily available. Then there was no reason for somebody to come up with, not to come up with an exact replica. In fact, banks used to recognize the fake note as the real note. That's how bad it had become. Now, the moving forward, other than using these kind of social media platforms to educate people in a systematic manner why this is bad, why you should introspect, I'm just looking for some sort of maybe a summarization of what we had today. It was a fairly long discussion. I'm going to try and break it up into 2 or 3 parts so that it stays interesting for those who want to listen. I'd like both of you, first our guest Mary ji and then Dr. Anush, to sort of summarize how we need to be really looking at this. How do we move forward?
So I have some. Here is from my perspective, Shriji. A lot of us are looking at the really urban crowd of Christians. Okay, and we are formulating all our strategies, our education programs, everything that based on seeing it from that lens. Okay, but if I were to go back, and if I really want to do some work and get the masses back, I would start off on the ground in the villages. Okay, that is a place which is easy to get them back because they are attached to the soil, and they are, I mean, remember, the simple people are the ones that have the most common sense. Okay, and we just have to appeal to their common sense. They've gone and fallen a prey for only for 20, 30 years, but they still remain very true to their family cultures. And they're very confused, because it's very hard for them to give up their age old traditions. And it is that group that we have to capture. Okay, and if we can do that, then the work is done, because we have to work in the reverse direction. Whenever people like my father, who are the sons of the soil, the son of a farmer, went and said, he went outside, got a good education, got a good job, and he came back in, and whenever he came and listened and said, oh, I found this new god, this god is much better than many of our gods, people were quick to listen. Okay, so in some sense, what I do today is something that he sees as an attack on him, but it really is not. Because today, one generation later, I go back and say, hold on, this is an aberration that my dad got in. Okay, because we really belong to the soil. And when they see me, that I'm so well versed with the family cultures, their village traditions, it took me some time. I sat and studied and understood their psychologies. They're so quick to listen, and they are, as easy as it was to toss their idols, it is that easy to toss their bibles, because they never read the Bible to begin with. All they were doing is listening anyway, right? So it's not like, how, okay, whatever. It's not like there's nothing that they read on their own to understand what the heck is inside that. So if I tell them that this is all gibberish, and I have to just quote two, three things and say this is what the Bible says, they said, oh my God, we don't want it. Let's kick it. Let's put it out. So any kind of reviving Hinduism, or I'm not even saying reviving Hinduism, connecting people back to their original roots, has to start with the villages. Now, the city crowd are the lost cause, okay? Because the religious identity somehow in the urban Christians is also attached to their social identity. Okay, and they have adopted to Christianity as a way, because they were shamed. Most of these people that have taken to Christianity are the ones that came from villages just a generation or two generations ago, and they got this complex of being very ashamed of their own background. So they hide their original identities, that they belong to a village family or a farmer's family, and they kind of pass off as an elite crowd, lead a life with a mask on. So for them to get out and say, I want to go back to Hinduism, is a step back, because now they have to tear their mask and show who they really are to the outside world, which they have no guts doing. They don't have courage to do that. So I would not waste my breath going after the village. They dug their own pits. Let them bury themselves and let them be a gone case. But it is the villagers that we have to go back. It is them that we need to save. They will save us. They will take us through forever. I mean, going forward, they are our ambassadors, and I would invest in them.
Thank you so much, Mary Ji. Dr. Anush, your final thoughts.
Uh, we are making a group of soldiers on foot to reach the villagers and every nook and corner to reverse the damage done by missionaries. And we have initiated something called Sanatana Swadeshi Sena. And I am encouraging the youth all over India to join, to be part of the Sena, and we will have the right kind of awareness program through literatures and by word of mouth, where we'll be meeting one to one to every person who got converted into Christianity to help them become aware, become convinced, not by force, but ideologically, they will understand what is the mistake they have done, and so that they can come back to their roots and follow this wonderful spirituality and culture that liberates you in every dimension and for a better and evolved living. And it is not a kind of any kind of a militant force. It is a human friendly, with humanness and kindness and better love and sense of righteousness, and it is a dharmic force, and because it's all about sanatan dharma. And I know it is formally launched by Shankaracharya Sri Ramachandra Bharati Swamiji of Gotirth Ashram, Uttarakhand. And we are working on the lines, and very soon all over the country we will have volunteers and Sena members, and we are launching a big yatra this month in Andhra Pradesh. And I know we are very serious about this, and we are going to formally do a reversal of Christianity in India. And we are not against any religion, but we know, and we wanted our fellow beings in our country to know that Christianity is in India was a geopolitical agenda executed by Britishers. It is a foreign invasion in terms of religion, which exploited us, which which created infrastructure to manipulate our brains, so that we will become obedient slaves and sepoys under their agenda. And we got fooled. We were a country which had once governance without government. That kind of awareness our country had. We were the land of light and salt for the entire mankind. We upheld the utmost spirituality which any human being can ever experience on the face of this planet. Today, we have lost every ethos, every richness to it. We were exploited, and we allowed ourselves to be exploited because we got mentally manipulated. And it is our commitment and privilege to bring back every Indian back to our roots in love and in grace, which is bestowed by our gurus. When we have forgotten our gurus, we have forgotten our forefathers, we forgotten those pathfinders. They have laid a beautiful culture which is spiritual and scientific. We have 64 kalas and 14 tantras, which includes engineering, medical science, astrology, astronomy, carpentry, engineering, every space science, genetic engineering, everything. It evolved from our country. We are the root. We are the parent family from which everything, all these virtues evolved. Today we are trampled. We are being misguided. We are being painted black and red, and we need to come out, and we need to show forth our light before the entire mankind. So this is what we are into right now, very practically. As Mary was talking, that we need to get into the villages. That's where life happens. Even Gandhiji very clearly said, it is in villages you can see the true life, true existence. That's where we evolved as a community, as a human civilization. And we wanted to restore those civilizational values in the coming days. So I'm urging all the viewers all across the world, join. It is beyond religion. You Christians, come forward. You Muslims, come forward. You Hindus who are gone behind. You have traveled behind. Far, standing apart and away. Come forward. Let's join together our hands and restore this big, Vedic civilization. This Indian Vedic spirituality known as Sanatana Dharma, the all-inclusive spirituality that upholds that the world is one family of the divine. Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. And it also says another wonderful statement, and Loga Samasta Sugino Bhavantu. Let there be well-being for the entire mankind. So this is our dream from this day onwards, that the entire mankind will know the beauty of our spirituality and culture. And I'm inviting every one of you through this beautiful platform began by this beautiful human being named Sree Iyer, in the presence of this wonderful human being, Mary Suresh Iyer. all Ayers. I think Ayers are going to do something amazing. And I'm so glad to be with all of you this day. Thank you so much.
Let,
Namaskaram. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful, wonderful discussion.
let me just add few closing thoughts, okay?
Please.
Okay, so one of the things, storytelling is a major part of the Sree Iyerji. I have realized this after I myself have embarked on this. I come from a huge family. My father has six siblings and five brothers and two sisters. So if we cousins meet together, we will probably make 200 people today. Okay, and when I go back, they come every time I go. I might go every 6 months, but the whole family will be there to see me. That's the kind of regard they have for me. But over the years, we never discussed anything about our own grandparents. I mean, that was like a taboo. But slowly, I have started asking them about my older cousins who know the family a little bit more. Tell me more about what was their culture like. And I didn't even do this thing without thinking much. But when I built this temple, I actually dedicated this to my grandparents. Okay, and it has a small black thing that the placard, that the plaque that it had, mentioning my grandparents' original name. My father renamed them too. So my grandfather's name is Ramaya. My grandmother's name is Tirupatamma. So when I actually put those things, the really old people in that village, they came there and they actually wept. They said, these were the people that we knew. And when they changed their names to Esudasu and Devakaruna, we never recognized those people. Okay. But today you put them back, you reintroduced our Tata, our Nanama that we knew. Okay, so these gestures go a long way to tell the stories of our ancestors. And I went and found out the stories. I sit down and listen to really old people and to find out what were my grandparents like. My grandfather owned 30 acres of land, and he was a good farmer. And one of the things that they told me was my grandfather would go at the end of the day to the animal, wherever they sell animals. I don't know what they call animal market. Okay, and whatever was left off, the animals that they were rejected, blind, broken leg, those were the ones he would pick them up and bring them home. And when I was growing up, I would see, like, why is this cow does not have one eye? Why is the leg broken? But that was his seva to the animals, to the cows. And today, when I talk about them, not like useless man just picked up random cows and brought them home was the narrative that we were given. But when I reintroduce the story and say, hey, this is how our grandfather served the Gomata, okay, and we come from that culture. And I mean, telling the stories back again to bring back that pride. So for that, we have to go and do a little bit of research about the native culture, the native stories of the of the people of that soil. And that will go a long way in whatever Dr. Anush is doing. My pranams to you, Anush ji. This is a great movement. And at some point, when I'm done with this American dream, I want to come back to my people.
Well, thank you very much once again, Dr. Anush and Mary Ji. And we'll be back with such interesting conversations. This has been our platform. It's been our ideal to try and take an in-depth look at things. And I hope viewers, you saw this video in its entirety and you understand the layers that are involved. And it is a very, very deep system, but Sanatana Dharma has a way of finding its soul in all of us, because at heart we all are Sanatanis. It doesn't matter what religion we profess to today, we are all Sanatanis. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Namaskar.